Dear students, I am back with the chapter Carbon and its compounds. In the episode 1, we have studied about covalent bonds and formation of covalent bonds as well as few structures of hydrocarbons. Today, in this class, I am continuing with the structures of hydrocarbons. We have studied about the groups alkanes. As you all know, alkanes are very easy to write according to the system of nomenclature. I say CnH2n, CnH2n plus 2 is the molecular formula of alkanes. Now, today I am going to talk about very important group called as alkyl group. Maybe you will get to know more about this when you answer the functional groups. So, be very careful about this alkyl groups. Let's begin with what is alkyl group. Methane is written as CH4. The structural formula was taught to you in the previous class. Methane is CH4. Remove one hydrogen from methane. I say CH4 is written in this particular format. Say one hydrogen is lost from methane. It becomes CH3 with one bond pending, which means CH3 group is called as methyl group. Hope this point is very clear to all. CH3 group is called as methyl group. You write the programming in this particular way. You know homologous series. There is a program which is set in your mind now. How to write alkyl group from the alkanes. C2H6. As you all know, C2H6 is ethane. How to convert ethane into ethyl group? If you write carbon-carbon single bond and the hydrogen atoms which are 6 in number, this is how do you write ethane, and converting this ethane into ethyl, one hydrogen is lost, which becomes C2H5 dash. So it is very clear, methyl group is obtained by removing one hydrogen from methane. Ethyl group is obtained by removing one hydrogen from ethane. And you got to know how to write propyl group, butyl group, pentyl group, hexyl group, heptyl group, octyl group, nonyl group and decyl group. These groups are very, very important because I say based on these groups, the real functional groups will get existence. For example, I am going to teach you what is the first functional group I am going to write. Alcohol. Alcohols are OH groups. If you have CH3, just now we have understood what is CH3. Say this is methyl. Methyl group to which OH group gets added up. By this, you can directly say this is methyl, this is alcohol. I can call it as methyl alcohol. Yes, we keep pet names to the kids. This is of that kind. Methyl alcohol is not exactly the nomenclature, but this methyl alcohol is the common name of CH3OH. You know that C2H5 is alkyl group, which is 2 number of carbon atoms, so we call it as ethyl group, to which OH is added. I can say C2H5OH is ethyl alcohol. I say this is ethyl alcohol, but now how to nomenclate this? The nomenclature goes not in the way of common name. These are common names. Say methyl alcohol, say ethyl alcohol till decyl alcohol. I say this alcohols are named based on number of carbon atoms they have. Say this has one carbon atom, in which you know if the carbon atom number is 1, the nomenclature has to begin with the name meth. This is very important, my dear students. This is very, very important because meth is representing the number of carbon atoms. Since there is only one carbon atom, I say the name is meth. If there is carbon-carbon single bonds, see we see all single bonds here. These are all single bond, single bond, single bond, single bond. Since there is single bond, we say this is ane. So meth stands for carbon atom number 1, ane stands for single bond, and the name is methane. Methane. Say here there are 2 carbon atoms. If you write it in the structural formula, I say carbon and carbon has single bonds. Since there is single bond and 2 carbon atoms, say this methane, what you have, and here whatever OH group you have, I say this is eth for 2 carbon atoms and ane for single bonds. Here this is meth for single carbon atom, here eth for 2 carbon atoms, this is ane for single bonds, this is also ane for single bonds. Now comes the question of what is the functional group you have. Functional groups that we have is OH and OH. So it is very clear, the functional group OH is representing alcohol, and the name of alcohol should be ending up with ol. I say this is methanol and this is ethanol. Hope this is clear at all. You can expect a question to write the structure of this. I'll get back to the same situation again. I'll teach you one more situation where there is the different functional group is present. See, the functional group is amines, and I say amines is NH2. Ammonia is NH3. NH2 with 1 bond pending, it becomes amines group. Say this is amine group. When amine group is added to methyl group, you can call it as methyl amine. You can call it as methyl amine, but the nomenclature is, you know, meth stands for single bond and ane stands for, meth stands for number of carbon atoms which is 1, ane stands for single bond, and you know pending is NH2. I add this NH2 here. So what will happen? 2 carbon atoms, I say this is eth. All single bonds, as we all know, this is ane, but now the name should be ending up with amine. I say methane amine because 1 carbon atom, this is methane amine. The next one is ethane amine. Hope you got to know how to write amine groups now. The another 3 important groups which are very, very important for the examination, which are confusing too. I say there is carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid. Say CO group is carbonyl group, from which 3 groups are originated. One is carboxylic group. Let's study carboxylic group first. Similarly, if you want to study what is aldehyde group, I can go to aldehyde groups and tell you how aldehydes are preferred. And finally, you can write what is keto group. You can write ketones from this. I say starting with C double bond O, C double bond O, these are the basics. I say these are carbonyl groups. In all the 3 cases, there are carbonyl groups. Say C double bond O, C double bond O, C double bond O. If there is only 2 alkyl groups, say R is alkyl group, say R is alkyl groups, ethyl, methyl, propyl, butyl, etc., etc. R is representing the alkyl groups. And then you have only CO group in the middle. I say CO group is surrounded by alkyl groups. This is called as ketone. Carboxylic acid, say CO group must contain 1 OH group and 1 more can be any alkyl group. So 1 alkyl group, say this is CH3, C double bond O, OH, because COOH, I say CH3, COOH is, how do you write this as a molecular formula? CH3COOH, this is the expansion, this is the real general formula for it. RCOOH is called carboxylic acid. If you ask me how to write aldehyde, this is R, alkyl group, CH3, C2H5, etc., etc. You have only H group. I call this RCHO, called as aldehyde group. Say R is CH3, becomes CH3CHO. The nomenclature is also not difficult, it is easy. Say these 2 are CH3 double bond CO, that is CH3 once again, I say C double bond O, which is surrounded by similar CH3 groups. If the 2 groups are similar, we call it as symmetrical ketone. If this is CH3, this is CH3, that is symmetrical ketone. If this is CH3 and this is something else, C2H5, we don't call it as symmetrical ketone, we call it as unsymmetrical ketone. Hope this is clear. Now let's go for the nomenclature. How to nomenclate this? Always the ketone should be ending up with one. And how to end up this with one? I say there are 3 carbon atoms. You can observe carbon atom number 1, 2, 3. So prop, since there are all single bonds, people get confused. When there is a double bond between carbon and oxygen, don't be confused. Carbon double bonds are not present here. Carbon oxygen double bonds are present. So I say this is ane, and then it should be ending up with one. Propanone. The name of the compound is propanone. Is it clear? Coming to carboxylic acid, 2 number of carbon atoms, carbon atom number 1, 2, but nomenclature should be started with the carbon atom number 1, which with the functional groups. When you go to the upper classes, you will study why number 1 is given to the functional group. Always functional group is preferred. You can't start from here, you have to start from here. The functional group is first carbon atom, this is second carbon atom. There are 2 carbon atoms. 2 carbon atoms, and you know there is carboxylic acid group, that is COOH group. 2 carbon atoms, I say that is each. Carbon and carbon has single bond, that is ane, and then there is COOH group, I say that is oic acid. Oic acid is the name which you have to end up for carboxylic acids. So this is ethanoic acid. Coming to the next one, aldehydes. I say aldehydes should end up with the name called al. Aldehydes should end up with al. Don't be confused. Alcohols are going to end up with ol. OL. Now there are 2 carbon atoms, and you all know if there are 2 carbon atoms, it is eth, and there is single bond, so this is ane, and then you know that is ethanol. You can call this as ethyl aldehyde also. This is ethyl aldehyde, but it is not a IUPAC nomenclature, it is a common name. You can call this as ethanoic acid. Also you can call it as carboxylic acid, which is very important, called acetic acid. This is acetic acid, this is acetaldehyde. These are the common names. Okay, and then apart from this, you have to study very important questions for the chapter carbon and its compounds. What are those very important questions for carbon and its compounds? Coming up to that, the questions that you have to prepare for carbon and its compounds chapter. I say the very important one is isomerism. What are isomerisms? I say there is one isomerism which is present in your textbook, that is structural isomerism. So C4H10 is butane, everybody knows it. I say carbon atom number 1, carbon atom number 2, carbon atom number 3, carbon atom number 4, and then there are total 10 hydrogen atoms which are surrounding it. I say there are 10 hydrogen atoms, and this 10 hydrogen atoms are actually having the carbon-carbon chain, which is a straight chain. Coming to the next one, can you see what is happening here? The same molecular formula. One carbon atom, second one, third one, but the fourth one is having a branch. If you could see, there is a branch which is generated now. 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen, 4 hydrogen, 5 hydrogen, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. The molecular formula remains the same. But the matter is, can you see the top one and the bottom one? I say this is also C4H10, this is also C4H10, this is also butane along with this. Butane and butane, whether the molecular formulas are same, both are same. Molecular formulae are same, but when you compare the structures are different. We call them as isomerism. Phenomenon is isomerism. To be very frank, it is structural isomerism. Structures are different. Having the same molecular formula but different structural formula, they are called, the phenomenon is called as isomerism. These two compounds are called as isomers. Hope this is clear. Coming to the next one, what will be the next question that will be asked to the examination? The very important question that will be asked to the examination is homologous series. I say homologous series. Homologous series is the series which differs by only CH2. You can observe this. CH4 is methane. CH4 is methane. Add CH2 group to it. When you are adding CH2 group to it, I say C plus C is C2H6. This is methane, and the next compound which you get is ethane. Add one more CH2 to it, go to C3H8, that is propane, which means by adding CH2, you can see by adding CH2 you get from methane to ethane, from ethane to propane. If you add one more CH2 you get butane. So these molecules, you can say these compounds, these methane, ethane, propane. I'll give you another example. CH3OH is methanol, methyl alcohol, methanol. Add CH2 group. When you add CH2 group you get C2H5OH. From methanol you have converted it into ethanol. From ethanol I add CH2 once again, C3H7OH. Can you see there is one more compound which is formed in the same series? So I say this is methyl alcohol or methanol. I say this is ethyl alcohol or ethanol. I say this is propyl alcohol or propanol. All these are just differing by CH2. These molecules are compounds which belong to the same series. The series is called as homologous series. This is a very important question for your final examinations. Let's go with the next and the last question that can be asked from the chapter carbon and its compounds. You need to be very clear about this. And you all know this is benzene. What is aromatic compound? Carbon, 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 carbon. I say there is one hydrogen each, so that the total number of bonds which carbon has is 3. You can check this carbon, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then there comes double bonds, alternative double bonds, and you know this is benzene. This is benzene. Note down this. This is benzene. 6 carbon atoms, 6 hydrogen atoms. C6H6 is the structure which will be asked to the examination. Benzene. Sometimes the question will be reversed and asked. Write the structure of toluene. Remove any one of the hydrogen atoms. Removing one of the hydrogen atoms. Say this is removed. Add methyl group. I say CH3. How many carbon atoms? 6 plus 1, 7. 7 carbon atoms. How many hydrogen atoms? Total is 8. C7H8 is the molecular formula. The name of the compound is toluene. Will be asked to the examination. Combining two benzene rings. Combining 2 benzene rings. See, I am going to combine 2 benzene rings now. Alternative double bond is common for both. And I say 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the molecular formula we will calculate, but this is naphthalene. Naphthalene is the next one which is very, very important to the examination, which will be asked for at least 1 mark. Be careful about these structures. Benzene, toluene and naphthalene are the important questions that can be asked to the final examinations. So my dear students, this carbon and its compounds chapter is not difficult. In the previous episode, I have told you what to study about the basics of carbon. I repeat them again. Electronic configuration of carbon, valency, tetravalency, and formation of covalent bonds by the carbon atoms. What is catenation is very important question. Hydrocarbons, alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, and the functional groups what I have taught today are going to be very, very important for the final examination. Talking about isomerism, 1 mark or 2 mark question with the structures will be asked to the final examination. Be prepared to face it. And then the nomenclature of different compounds like benzene, toluene, naphthalene, and you have to read the textbook pinpointedly. If you are well prepared, you can expect all these questions for the final examination. With another video, I will meet you in the next episode. Till then, thank you.